this same voice and same question is asking from every corner, from the crumbling foundations of our nations. You know what is happening in the country? Somebody is asking, why are men to save the economy? They're trying to run around and make a coalition to see if men can save the what? The country. The echoes I have from everywhere. Where are men? Where are they? From everywhere. It's not a merely question of presence. For you to be called that you are men, where are you in terms of presence? Like now the seats are empty. Asking where are men? No, that's not the question. But the question is, where are men of purpose? Where are men of identity? And where are men who've been called to serve? So it's not about presence, it's not being there. You can be there and you're not counting, but the purpose of your calling. One is men of identity, who can identify themselves as men. Becomes the big question. Once men, when I grew up, I knew I could trust. There's a time you could hear people roar lingo as ministers in this country. You could actually feel the leadership. You understand, yeah? It's not nowadays, there's a person who's called a CS, can't even make a decision. That those sides of JJ Kamoto, if you did those days near I lived, I used to admire those kind of men in society, yeah? Where there's a time in our churches, you can be able to hear pastors who could talk, and pastors who can be able to defend the child. Where are those men today? The question is, once men stood as pillars of truth in the society, the anchors of stability, they were defenders of righteousness. That I can tell you that those are the days we could be able to talk about the one men once. They were priests of their homes, and for sure you could actually experience the priesthood of a man in the what? In our homes. You could actually understand that the man, that child, has been brought up from a family where foundations of Christianity have been laid, not in church, but from the what? From the home. The protector of their children. You can see kids all over the place who can't even listen to anybody else. Where are those men, those days, who could actually become, who say, Komba, you unafanya makosa, you run to your dad, because your dad can do what? Can protect you. Where are those men? So, the voices of integrity in our world drowning in a place whereby there is sort of say. But today, men have abdicated their thrones. These people have forgotten about their roles, forsaking our divine responsibilities for the fleeting pleasures of comfort. Now there's the best successful man is a man who can be able to live in comfort. A lot of distractions taking place and selfish ambitions. The modern man has forgotten his noble duty. That's the saddest part. The modern man has forgotten his noble duty. Therefore, what are we called it this morning? I said it's a call to manhood. I want to call upon us. I want to define a man as a king. I want to define this morning a man as a priest and a man as a shepherd. That's my definition this morning. And these are the three terms I want to use as we move along. That is a man who is a king, because there's no other king, there's no other name. Man is as a king, a man as a priest. Not the pastor of this church, but a priest in every aspect, right from our homes and everywhere else. And a shepherd who can be able to take care of the sheep of your own household and the sheep of God's church today. A man is not even a figure of strength. So you used to say, I used to grow in a village who is a what? Yeah, I come from a village, so that's what I want to say. A man with a lot of strength. You can define him as a what? A man. So it's not a merely figure of strength. It was a symbol of divine responsibility. A man becomes a symbol of divine responsibility. He is not just one who fathers children, because your men, their job is just one. You are a man because your wife has children. You know what I mean? That you are fathered in what? Children. So you become a man because you have impregnated a wife in the house and another daughter. No. But one who fathers destinies. A man who can design, a man who can lead his children to the destinies God desires you to do what? To have. Who nurtures faith? That's a man. And builds legacies. Me, I know there's only one thing which has built legacies in this world. People have been remembered. What are you going to be remembered for? What legacy are you being remembered for? When you die, when we put you in the kaburi, what can people say about you? And that's a simple thing. I remember there's one thing I know which has put legacies in the universe. And people are working towards it. You know there's this thing called malaria. You know that? Yes. It's caused by what? Mosquito. Did you know, facts about a mosquito? A mosquito lives for 7 days. From birth to death, how many days? Come on, someone the book of, I'm going to send a book. Makonde. That's what's actually Samuel Makonde, a story. You read that book. I can tell you that's exactly what a mosquito does. A mosquito's lifespan is not 99 years, as a man 70 years. A mosquito lives how many days? 7 days. But that thing has left legacies in this world. Do you know in a Kenyan government budget of 4.3 trillion coming, there's a budget there to fight what? Malaria. A mosquito will be remembered for something. I know in Tanzania we have the biggest net factory. Yeah, mosquito what? Mosquito net. The biggest you can think of in Africa is in where? They export nets to every part of Africa. It was down there by a man called George Bush Foundation. Put big things. And I can tell you, it's because of one thing, fighting a what? A mosquito, which lives for how many days? 7 days. Sasa, if a mosquito can live for 7 days and you have all this legacy, the world is putting money into it, what is your legacy as a man that as you live, you can be remembered for? The one thing you can be remembered for is that your children, who are sometimes look like they have a father, but they are fatherless, because that father is not there. So the role of a man. Who is a man? And I say, a man as a king, a priest, and a what? A shepherd. The Bible says in the book of Proverbs 20, verse 29, the glory of young men is their strength, but the splendor of old men is their gray hair. Alright? You remember that. As a young man growing up, a man with their strength, but the splendor of old men is their gray hair. Let's see a Bible commentary. Reports on Bible Commentary, Volume 3, page 1025. It says, true manhood is not measured by worldly success. Listen to what the Bible Commentary says. The manhood, true manhood, is not measured by worldly success, but by the man's ability to stand firm in righteousness. That's what counts. To lead his family in the fear of God. Alright? And to be the light in the midst of darkness. I repeat that sentence. I got it as a very true definition. That true manhood is measured not by worldly success. It's not the number of cars you have. It's not the kind of homes you own. Sometimes people have forgotten that there are people in this world who've been so successful but they have died miserable with their money because they never raised a family. And therefore, when I see a man, I see a Danyamao, I want to see him with the kind of family that's what? He brings up the success, and I want to be proud that the success of me is not what I have, which I'm able to get lost tomorrow, but the kind of family I've been able to lead to Christ. And that success yangu ni kwamba ukisimama, I told my boys, I want to stand and say kwamba ule mtoto wanani ni wa Danyamota. That makes me proud. You don't live longer because it's been brought up what? Well, in the village you know very well. Kuna watoto ambao unaambiwa kwamba you can't even associate with them. Watoto wa fulani, yes, it's a man who works so hard, but the kids are not what? You can be able to be accounted for. In the writings of N.G. White, it reminds us in the book of Adventist Psalm, a man is what? In his family is to stand as a priest. A man's work in his family is to stand as a priest, a teacher, and a protector. My daughter knows the only person who can protect her is who? It's me. Before, he thinks as a boy, when to confuse her that they want to be your protector. But for now, as she grows up, she's known the place to run to as a protector is who? It's me, as a man. He is to guide his household in the fear of the Lord. A king rules with wisdom. A man is supposed to be a king in the house. You can't be a king out there if you can't run your what? Your family. A king rules with wisdom. A priest intercedes with love. That's the job of a priest, is interceding. A shepherd leads with sacrifice. I've divided a man. Alright? A man as a king, as a what?
Priest.
A priest and a what? A shepherd. And therefore, a king rules with what? Wisdom. A priest intercedes with what? Love. And a shepherd leads with what? Sacrifice. A serious shepherd. If a lion came one before the sheep, what he does, I can tell you, he forgets about the sheep, goes to do what? To fight. But today, where are kings? It's the question I'm asking this morning. Where are these kings? Are you seeing them in society today? Are you seeing priests in society today? Are you seeing the shepherds? Where are the men? It's the question I started with. The degree, the responsibilities, I want to talk about the roles of a man. I'm summarizing. I'll give you a summary of this topic, roles of a man. In the family, there's a person who's been forgotten in the home, and that is, there's nowhere in the home nowadays you find a priest in the house. We've made our children think that our pastors with their own flaws and elders in church are supposed to be the role models who can be able to lead our children. We've obligated our duties to giving the pathfinders people to do what? Take care of our what? Our children. In the family, the forgotten priest in the home. There was a time when the father gathered their children in the altar of prayer. And I thank God for my dad. I thank God for my dad today. Nasema kwamba is the man I never knew an elder in the universe apart from my dad, because he taught me every verse. He's the first person who taught me how to recite a what? A verse. He's the first person who gave me the confidence at the age of 12 to stand in a pulpit to preach, and I remember preaching about Samson. At the age of what? 12. I remember that man that every evening there was a call to worship because Mukayo changed, because it was a floor Naka to eat. There was something which was special. There was a song. And I learned all songs in the Adventist in Kikisi and in Kiswahili. The first choir ever sung was in my what? Home. The home. Where beautiful hymns were sung. Where beautiful verses were recited before I went to Pathfinder. The first person who taught me the shortest when I was growing young, and he told me, my son, just say this, Jesus wept. You know, that's a verse. Jesus what? Wept. And that's the first reciting. And he started by giving me the simplest. Jesus did what? Wept. Before he came to John 3 what? 16. For God so loved the what? The world. I could be able to recite, and that was nowhere other than in the what? In the home. So there is an expectation every evening that we must recite a verse, each one of us. And by then we read the Bible, because each one of them done what? Recite. There was a time for my mom late who could come as a choir master and tells me a song I sing to my children when they don't understand so much of Kisi. Kaiwa Yeso Kwana Incho Timoke Ikaransa Kwaro Sire Wege Kasenden Inkamo Cherando Sete Kamo I still remember my mom vividly late, but I remember vividly being a choir master, not in charge, but in the what? Yes. When Dad was a what? A priest. Forgotten priests in our homes. People don't experience this. I thank God I was able to experience and grow as a man because somebody. But today, the homes are fatherless because there's no time for worship. There's no time you can even open this Bible. We have Bibles, you can only come with them to church. But even in church, we never open the what? The Bibles. Because there are screens all over the place. Unangoja verse hapo mbele. Ukiambia mtu where is Joshua, the book of Joshua, they don't even the location of the book of what? Joshua. There are competitions in church, in the home. Kwamba, I'm giving you a verse to read. Who is the person to do what? To open the Bible. Why are those things with our children? You expect Pathfinder to do that for you today. They have no time for you. And you know the problem is even with the Pathfinder, there are no men teaching our what? Our children. We've given this as well to women. Do you know the prayer warriors we have today in our churches are not men? The prayer ministry is supposed to be a priest. Is led by who? Ladies. I'm not going to judge. But remember, that is not their responsibility. It's our own what? Responsibility. So children are mentored by television. Our kids are being mentored by strangers. Our kids are being mentored by screens, phones, and everything else. The men have become guests in their own households. You become guests. Unakuja kama mgeni. You know, you come home as a what? Kama mwizi, unaingia tu kwamba mmekula. Yes, we've eaten. How are you, my children? Uongo tu. Lakini you can't take kwamba come. Let's do what? Let's pray. You teach your child to recite the word. And never forget. The word, Jesus what? Word. Jesus my verse pastor in the Bible. The Bible commands this way. Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ did what? Love the church. And he gave himself up for her in the book of Ephesians. A husband's love, that's a man in the house, must be sacrificial, not self-seeking. It must mirror Christ's love, which gave all for the redemption of his people. A father's neglect of his sacred responsibility will be visited upon the children in sorrow and in grief. That one scared me. I must tell all of us that a father's neglect of his sacred responsibility. That's Ellen G. White in the book Child Guidance. A father's what? Neglect of his sacred what? Responsibility will be visited upon his children in sorrow and in grief. That neglect you have is why we see the world today of what it is. I wish we had priests in our own homes to bring our own what? Children. We could have as much wayward children in the streets today if men never neglected their what? Sacred what? Responsibility and duty. You can imagine you brought your children well. They're not going to be in the streets. Who can this be in the streets? Who can these people taking drugs? If you bring your children one, if you took your responsibility, that's the children mwachia walimu shule. Actually, I sympathize with Pathfinder teachers and adventurers because our mama, they don't even do those boys. They don't even know how to deal with them. Men have gone and left their kids from another Pathfinder. You come with Mercedes Benz, drop your children, you drive off. You come back with the Prado to pick them after this whatever, and you are not there. Yeah. Drop them, the Mercedes. Pick them with Prados. But if you can't take your responsibility to take care of your what? Your children. You have a responsibility. David, the great warrior, king, a man after God's own heart, conquered nations, but failed to conquer his household. That's the sadness. You're a king out there, but you forget to conquer your what? He was mighty in battle, but weak in display. He ruled a kingdom, but he could not rule his own children. Oh, that's the verse. He defeated giants, but could not defeat the rebellion in his own house. David, his son Absalom rose against him. You can imagine your son doing what? So it means there's something you missed in bringing up that child Absalom. Not because David lacked wisdom, but because he lacked presence. We have so much to do that our presence in the homes are missing. And our roles have been given to our mothers. Our roles have been given to the wives, and therefore there is a difference between that soprano. Gospel, please. Now they will say, man, and also your guy. You know what I mean, yeah? You need to listen to that kind of word. There must be a difference. That's like a soprano's water. You see what I mean, yeah? I'm not going to they're doing good jobs. But there's a point in life you must come in as a what? As a man. The people records, now Absalom in his lifetime had taken and set up for himself a pillar. For he said, I have no son to keep my name remembrance. That's the book of 2 Samuel 18 verse 16. Absalom was a fatherless son in the presence of his father. So sad. Absalom was a fatherless what? Son in the presence of his what? Not that the father was absent. Father was there. Men, let us not be absent kings in our homes. Let us lead, guide, protect, and love before it's too late. Wake up today in the church. The role of a man in the church. I've said the role of a man in the home is a what? A priest and a king. Are we together? Yes. And in the church, vanishing spiritual leaders. Once men filled the pulpits. Remember those days? Men filled the what? The pulpits. Yes, I remember. Led the congregations, and I knew men were there leading what? Congregations. Mentored young men and stood boldly for the truth. But today, where are the men? They are missing from the prayer meetings. You don't see men in prayer what? There are more ladies, and after statistics, you go to Lavington, you see more ladies and children than you see what? Men. They are not there. And all those children, if you ask their fathers, are there sleeping at home. And you expect tomorrow when your son at 18, akianza kulala nyumbani, unaweza kusema mtoto wangu ameharibika. Yet, one sin, one do. They do what they do what? They sin. And they are observing exactly what we do. You unagombana na mama kila siku in front of kids, unagombana kila siku. When you get married, unagombana na mke wako, unasema kwa mtoto wangu nini mbaya, but alikuwa na learn from the best teacher. Who is the best teacher? Father. They are silent when we should be teaching. They are distracted when they should be worshiping. The Bible warns, be watchful, stand firm in the faith. Act like men, be strong. 1 Corinthians 16 verse 13. 1 Corinthians 16 verse 13. Be watchful, stand firm in the faith. Act like men. Be what? Be strong. The absence of strong spiritual leaders among men has left a vacuum in our churches today. Once the enemy quickly fills in the confusion, it comes to the compromises in the worldliness. We need men who are not afraid to call sin by its what? Right now. Actually, I can promise that I saw people could tell you. You know now, there's even church discipline, Aiko. We fear. Talking about sin by its called what? By red what? Aki kabisa. I have known men. Hata unaambia pastor jamani. Hii jamaa is been living with a what? With a lady. Na sio bad. Pastor is okay, ameoa. Lakini ameoa mwanamke. Wako na watoto wangapi? Wawili. But the man sings in the church choir. I know. And you tell pastor, it's because who is who, he can't do what? Because another sadaka kanisani. Men who cannot call sin by its what? Right. We lack those men. And the Bible says, we look for what? I mean, if I may get that quote, yeah? The quote says, what does it say? There's a quote which I remember. Somebody says, and I remember that quote by Justice Maraga. You remember that quote? Yeah? What does it say? The word is need of what? Whom cannot be what? Report. Yes? You understand? Who can call sin by the what? By the name. Therefore, my friends, this morning, in our homes, our responsibilities, the forgotten priest, there was a man named David who worked tirelessly to provide for his family. He bought his wife expensive gifts that were good at. Nowadays, me, I never saw my dad buy flowers. But nowadays, we buy gifts, yeah? The best gift you buy to your wife, man, that will be very expensive, yeah? This David man, but he never gave his time. He paid his students school fees, but never taught them how to live. Alright? Very expensive schools. One day, his teenage son was arrested for drug and crime. Standing before the judge, the boy looked at his father and said, "Dad, you gave me everything except what I needed most. You. You gave me everything, but denied me the most important what? Gift, the most important thing. Who? You. He was not there." Tears rolled down David's face. He had lost his son, not to death, but to neglect. Neglecting your own what? Responsibility. My friends, this morning, man before sin, God's original plan and design, before sin defined the world, God designs men for a divine purpose. Not to be ruled by impulse or idleness, but to be head, the leader, and the protector, and the steward. Man was created in the image of God, reflecting his authority, wisdom, and responsibility. Remember, the first creation ever of a human being was not a lady, was a what?
A man.
There was a reason why God created a man. Why was he not created before who? Adam. Ask yourself. Man was created before the woman, establishing his role as the spiritual head and guardian of righteousness. The book of Genesis 2 verse 7. It says, man was created before the what? The woman, establishing his role as the spiritual what? Head. The father is the husband. Husband. That's what Ellen Stewart says. Husband, not husband. House what? Husband of the family. Binding. You know, band. That's what? Yamshika pesa. Yes, it does what? Na wake notice moja nyingi hivi unahesabu 100,000, unaweka na banka unakuwa 1 million, they band together. So the man is supposed to be the husband, binding together its members by strong, devoted affection and loading with wisdom and love. Then came in sin, and when sin came, men started blaming each other. When God calls Adam, Adam, where are you? What have you done? Have you eaten from that fruit? Adam says, no, it's not me, Dad. It's who? It's the woman you did what? Blame game. Instead of taking responsibility as a man, kwamba si kufanya mama alifanya, anasema it's not me. Who is this? It's a woman. Woman actually says, Eve, what did you do? It's not me. It's what? It's the serpent. You remember that blame game? It started up to date. There's a what? A blame game. Ukifanya kitu sio mimi, mtu akiambiwa kuna corruption, anasema no, it's not me. There are people doing what? Corruption that side. Unaelewa? There's always a blame game. This up to date. It started from the Garden of what? Eden. When sin came. A man was called to protect. A man was called to lead. He began to dominate the force instead of love. He was called to protect, allowed his home to fall into ruin. Man was called to guide, became lost, his most selfish guides. Let me tell you, it's a book I love reading, and I want to quote it. It's called James Allen, As a Man Thinketh. A very nice book. As a man thinketh, so is he. You understand that? As a man does what? It's a true reflection of what you think in your mind. Man is made or unmade by himself. So today, remember, man is made or unmade by who? Himself. In the harmony of thought, This one. He forges the weapons by which he destroys him what? Himself. You don't distract yourself, you can continue distracting yourself forever. Because it's in your what? In your mind. You want to say I'm poor, it's where? In your what? In your mind. As a man does what? Yes. Yes, say that he rich. Not rich in terms of money, but rich in terms of the kind of children I bring now. And ask God, and I had a convert to God when I married. In my beer, God, give me 2 children. How many? 2. And in prayer, when I say, God, give me 2 sons. I want one by the right, one by the what? The left. And you know what? God gave me 2 sons. But it's a gift which came. A daughter who is not the best. Yes? But I can tell you for free what I asked for. That God don't give me money. And I've been in positions I could actually make money. And I know I've been tempted. Somebody gave me millions of money for me to enter a corrupt deal. Nikambia, I cannot do what? I cannot enter. Because my promise not to be rich, but my promise was one simple thing. My promise was that God give me children, but give me enough to take care of them. And God has given me just enough. And when I ask, He gives. I made a bold move the other day taking my 2 kids to university. I didn't have money. But I God, see, what a covenant. That give me enough to do what? To take them to where? To school. And yes, God gave me enough and enough. Inafika mwisho wa mwezi, inaisha, wamekula, wameshiba, wamelala, na mimi nimeshiba, sawa. I don't have enough tomorrow to save, no. But I have enough to do what? To take care of the what? Of that need. That's the richness I was asking God. So, I want to tell you, what you confess, what you think is what you become. Don't look at yourself miserable. When you think you are rich, you can be what? Richness is where? Yeah. The mind. Think and God, and ask God as you think. Finally, the final call. I don't know how many minutes I have. I want to finish. I have so much, but how many minutes do I have? I know the other speakers. This is now 8. In some 10 minutes. Is that okay? I'm calling up upon men this morning to our families. My call is, be a priest in your own home. Lead your wife and children in worship and righteousness. Be a protector, not just physically, but spiritually. Job had every moment to pray for his what? His children. There's a special hour set aside, not to pray for himself and riches and everything else, but at a time to protect his children from the evil one. Not physically by protecting them and dealing with them there with guns and everything else. Nowadays men, they are against guns. But then that was for you have to declare a gun, yeah? Combat. So that's what we think is protection, yeah? But I want to call for men today, this morning in our church, that not just a protector physically, but what? Spiritual protection, because the darts of the evil are real. The evil is dividing our children. Evil is dividing our families, and therefore you've been called as a protector. And the only you can protect your children and families is by doing what? Guard your home against worldly influences. Guard your home through this by teaching your children, but also by praying for them. And that's only protection you can be able to give. The age you want to put around your children. A call of men, be provider. Provide for your what? Your family. I struggle to sit in an hotel to eat dinner, other than a person. When I see that, I say, this I must provide for my own what? Family. Kuna wanaume wanakunywa chai, mimi chai naenda nyumbani na kunywa nyumbani na mke wangu na nani? Na watoto. However little I get. You get blessed, I declare. Unajua nini? Kuna kazi nilifanya hapa kando, I've gotten some 50,000. Mom iko hapa. Tufanyie nini? Anakupanga, lakini unamwambia sasa sikiliza, I provide because I'm a what? A provider. These men provide for our families. It's more than money. Provide love. Provide love to your families, love your wives, love your children. Provide guidance and provide time. I want to call upon men this morning to provide those three things as a provider. Of course, you provide us money, but now provide what? Love, provide guidance, and what? Time. What the world lacks is the time with their families and with their children. Kaa chini in that place of yours, in that sitting room, just an hour talk. Play with them. They remember those memories. When you're far gone, they remember there was a father who played with me football. There was a father who played with me this, whatever game. Create any game in the world. Even Bible quizzes. Play with them. They can always remember. Create time for what? It doesn't mean that you don't have to go out look for that money and for you to provide. But for all 24 hours, can you miss at least 2 hours with family? Out of how many hours? 24 hours. Sacrifice sleep for the sake of your what? Your children. Kuna siku hizi kuna gari, you say you want school bus drop your kids. If you have time. If you have time, do that. Unaachia mama kwenda kanisani asubuhi, ndio unaona watoto kwenda kanisani, they are not there. Unachifanya wewe umetangulia kanisani na hata mama nyuma. There is no, kuna. I see that and I feel bad that umetangulia kanisani. Unless you're on duty unakimbia asubuhi. But if possible, come with your what? Waacha na wewe, waacha mama aendeshe gari pia na ushike nini? Mtoto. Beba hivi kuja kanisani. Be there for your children. I call to men in the church today. Take up leadership roles in church. Be elders, be deacons, be mentors, be spiritual guides. People learn the best from what they see. I've never refused God's work. Nikwambia tukienda kufagia tunafanya nini? Then nikiona kwamba they start deacon anaitwa Nyamota, anapaki gari yake hapo, anaenda kuosha nini? And I've done it. And I learned from a friend of mine when I worked in Tanzania. He's Mapunda. He's still alive, Mapunda. That Mapunda was, the equivalent of Central Bank of Kenya. He was the Central Bank of Kenya director. Yeah. Mapunda Emmanuel, with his directorship, taught me two things. I remember on Sabbath morning, President Jakaya Kikwete calls him personal Sabbath morning. Akimwambia, I'm going somewhere and I want you there. He told His Excellency, Mtukufu, amemwita na usisi Mtukufu Rais, samahani kwa unyenyekevu na heshima, leo niko kanisani. Then he sent my DG, David what? Governor. Atakuja kuniakilisha. Lakini leo niko wapi? Kanisani. A person who has guts to tell the what? The president. That today ni nini? Kanisa. And I learned from him the best. And you know what? I have a job today, and I was told in the contract, you know what? It was money or no money. I struggled. I struggled to trace a contract last March because the deal was too good not to send a what? A contract. You know, mambo yangu ya shida ya pesa nifanye niishi. Na nikamwambia, pale wananiambia kwamba working hours Monday to Friday 8 to 5. Saturday 8 to 12:45. I stood in a point of making a decision. I prayed. I even called pastors, including Pastor Wood. Sometimes I remember pastors coming to my house to pray for me because I didn't know what to do. I stood. Nimwambia jamaa, you know what? Unfortunately, unless you move this close, I won't do what? I remembered what Mapunda told the what? The president. Unfortunately, samahani kwa unyenyekevu Mtukufu Rais. Sitafanya nini? Sitaweza kuja. Nitatuma David what? DG wangu akuje. Leo niko wapi? Kanisani. Did he lose his job? No. The same Mapunda in the morning, one day tumeenda kanisani asubuhi kama elders. We are serving the same. We are only 4 elders in that church. Tumeenda asubuhi, tukakuta tabu ilimwagika. Ilipasuka kwa choo. Maji ilijaa nini? The toilets. Ordinarily, what would have done, na alafu sewage ilikuwa imejaa nayo imesimama. Ordinarily, what we could have done, ni kuita madikons kwamba wamefanya nini? Umeharibika. You're the first one in church in the morning. Nakuja asema mzee wa kanisa, kwenda mtumishi, mzee wa kanisa, tatoa hiyo koti, kunja shati. Hiyo mafi tunafanya nini? Tunatoa. So long as the guys are in, there was a reason why God called you there to be the first one to do what? To witness. Humility. Service with what? Humility. Take up leadership in charge. Wacha kukataa kazi ya nani? Ya Mungu. Hii prayer warriors, hii whatever, unakuta kwamba kwa prayer ministry hakuna mwanaume. Ni nani? Ni wamama. So men have known, watoto wamejua kwamba prayer can only be said by who? Women, mothers. Or only fathers in what? In prayer. They don't see them. But find us, hakuna wanaume. I'm a leader, you know that, you've seen. We struggle with men. Ukiuza amo, hawafanyi nini? Men remain. Unakuta a bunch of men remaining in charge. Hawafanyi nini? Hawaonekani. It's because we've left leadership to the wrong one. And you can't start blaming the church. Start blaming everyone else. Be elders. Defend the truth of the gospel. Do not let the worldliness enter to the church and challenge. Let things which are wrong be called by its what? The right name. That this is what? Wrong. Called sin by its what? Nobody will take you to court for saying the what? The truth. Call sin by its name. Defend the truth. Train up the next generation of leaders, mentor young men to stand firm in their faith. If they have dark fathers from home, then be the father in one, in charge. Take that role of being a father in charge today. And build our future. This church is going to not be the mutajenga hapa, but hii kanisa itakuwa kama US, UK. I've been to UK, I've been to US. A church nilienda kanisa, when I was in Sweden, nilienda kanisa elders. Nikaingia kanisani, I thought kwamba I was in the wrong one. Place. Wazee wanakuja na nini? Na fimbo. There was one pastor who started Sabbath school in the morning. Amefanya mission shiridi. Sawa. Amefanya kila kitu. Akatoka hapo. That same man amekuja kutoa matangazo. You know, I was shocked. Amemaliza kutoa matangazo. Yes. Ameingia sasa divine what? Divine now. Ndio anajiita kwamba now is time to do what? To preach. God mwambia sadaka. Because there's nobody. A church is empty. I went there on a Wednesday. And I was looking for a church to worship on Sabbath. Nikatembea on a Wednesday. Nikaambiwa kuna 7 day Adventist. Nikakuja imeandikwa kwenda tu for the 7 day Adventist church. Nikaangalia tukaingia ndani nikakuta there was a lot of praise and worship going on that Wednesday. Nikashindwa ni nini? Nikasema acha niingie. Nilipoingia kuuliza nikamwambia no, this is not a SDA church right now. This is an Orthodox what? Church. We have a seminar. We wire at this place. Can you hire your place? We are not Orthodox church hapo ndani ya kanisa. That's where it has reached. So katikati ya wiki is a hall. Saturday ni nini? Ni kanisa. Nani wako? Wazee. You know one funny thing? It's because the foundations of those students were in the wrong place. People never took time to lay foundations of their own kids. So the future of the church is at stake in the UK, US, and everywhere else. Because kids were not done what? Founded. Lastly, a call to men in the nation. So this is what I'm saying to govern this country in Gen Z. When Gen Z were talking about those things, things are not right, men were saying, what did Gen Z do? That once in the streets, I'm not saying you go demonstrate today, but I'm saying when evils happen in the world today, where men to call sin by its what? Right. Against corruption and injustice, be voices of righteousness in the workplaces and the communities. You don't have to go tell Luton State House you are doing wrong. You can actually influence your society around you, in your village. What you talk about is injustices in your workplaces. Uphold integrity in leadership. Lead with honesty wherever you are in your place of work, fairness, wherever God has placed you. Speak for the voiceless. Sometimes people are struggling. As a man in the country, speak for the voiceless. Defend the poor, the oppressed, and the weak. We have so many of them in society today. As a person in your small way, stand up for them. It's the privilege of every Christian not only to look for, but to hasten the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. That's our duty as men. Adventist men, unite under the banner of Jesus' stand as one. Fight the good fight of faith. The world asks, where are the men? Let's answer, here I am. Lord, do what?
Send me.
God bless. Amen. God bless you abundantly, my dear men. As we, brothers, it's time now. God bless you. Our families are waiting. The church is waiting. The nation is waiting. Watch ye, stand in faith. Stand fast in faith. Which will be strong. We are the man God has called today. It's not from out there. We need together. May God bless us, and I'm happy that I was here to remind ourselves of our duties as what? Men. Remember, man as a king, as a priest, and a what? A shepherd. Thank you, God bless you.
Amen.